Earlier today, UFC President Dana White announced the main event for UFC 307 in Salt Lake City on October 5th. It is Alex Pereira versus Khalil Rountree. Yes, you heard that right. Alex Pereira, Khalil Rountree for the light heavyweight title. What are we even doing anymore? This sport is absolute dog shit. The legitimacy of the sport's completely ruined. Undeserved title shot after undeserved title shot after undeserved title shot. By the way, the co-main event is Raquel Pennington versus Juliana Pena for the women's bantamweight title. By the way, another undeserved title shot. Juliana Pena is coming off that embarrassing loss against Amanda Nunes where she looked like she never trained a day in her life. We're going to talk about 307 in its entirety because there's some people out there saying this card's a banger. But Pereira versus Rountree. I mean, are we just skipping over every contender and just giving title shots to whoever? Like, what is this sport anymore? I did an 1.5-hour stream on this when the news broke. I was like, I have to do an emergency stream. I could not believe it. I thought this was some kind of sick, twisted joke. This is the state of the UFC. And I never, ever want to hear Dagestani privilege ever again. Unless Khalil Rountree has some Dagestani in him. The Dagestani privilege narrative has been beaten into the ground by Dana White because it is non-existent. It has never existed. And it's an outright bullshit narrative. And if this doesn't prove it, I don't know what does. Because what about Magomed Ankalaev? And there's people sitting out here. The revisionist history on Magomed Ankalaev is crazy. It's crazy. We'll get into that in a second. Who gives a rat's ass about Pereira versus Rountree? Who in their right mind wants to see that fight? I'm waiting. Let me know down in the comments. I certainly don't want to see it. This is hands down one of the most undeserved title shots I have seen. Because not only is Khalil Rountree not coming off a big win, his last win was the dead body of Anthony Smith. On top of that, he's coming off a PED suspension. Now, he was tested and he admitted to usage, but it could have been one of those things where he was trying to get out in front of it. Okay? Either way, he had a banned substance in his system. He was already not deserving of a title shot. He's getting a title shot. The only conclusion that I can come to is the UFC is protecting Alex Pereira. Because, let's jump right into it. Look at this record. Oh, Jamal Hill fight canceled. Wonder why. Rountree temporarily suspended due to consuming a banned substance. He'll be back in time to fight Pereira. Apparently, he still has to suffer. He has some type of hearing for the Nevada State Athletic Commission. I hope they ruin their plans. Because if one commission suspends a fighter, another commission can follow suit. Or basically, it's not, if Nevada suspends you, it's not like you can go fight under other commissions. Like, they usually respect the penalties of, statewide, okay? But forget about the Jamal Hill fight. Before that, beats Anthony Smith, the dead corpse of Anthony Smith. This is literally 6 months ago, Anthony Smith. This isn't like prime Anthony Smith. He made Anthony Smith do a spinneroonie, okay? Before that, Chris Daukaus. If we're getting title shots off of wins against Chris Daukaus, we have to give everybody under the sun, and probably quite a few criminals as well, title shots. Because Chris Daukaus is an absolute scrub. Before that, split decision win against Dustin Jacoby. And this one actually grinds my gear. This is arguably a robbery. A lot of people thought it was a robbery. I thought it was a little bit closer than that. Dustin Jacoby just got KO'd by Dominic Reyes, okay? And I know MMA math doesn't always work, but Dustin Jacoby went out there and out-kickboxed Khalil Rountree for 3 rounds. If Dustin Jacoby is out-kickboxing Khalil Rountree for 3 rounds, what is Alex Pereira going to do? So not only is this an undeserved title shot, this is also a fight where I think the challenger has absolutely no chance. Absolutely no chance. I mean, look at this. Carl Roberson. Modestas Bukauskas. What are we doing? This is title shot resume here? This is title shot resume? Meanwhile, we have Magomed Ankalaev, 10-fight win streak. has one loss in his entire MMA career in a fight that he was dominating and got caught last second, but that was 10 fights ago. 11 fight unbeaten streak, actually, considering the draw against Jan. Look at this shit. This honestly makes me hate the sport. And I know people are going to be like, Joey, you're just being over dramatic. No, I hate this shit. Imagine you went to the play. I used to be a hardcore NFL fan back in the day. Imagine right before the playoffs, the NFL just decides which teams are most popular. Oh, that's who we're going to put on the playoffs. You know, the Cowboys went 2-14 this year, but they're going to make the playoffs because they had the most jersey sales. Okay, and that's not necessarily what's happening here with Khalil Rountree. It's basically a reverse effect. It's basically a reverse effect because essentially what they're doing is they're protecting Alex Pereira from Magomed Ankalaev. That's what I believe they're doing. Alex Pereira saved UFC 300 for him. He saved 303 for him after Conor McGregor pulled out with a broken pinky toe. And now he's saving UFC 307 in Utah for him. And they're looking to potentially, I think, eventually move him up against Tom Aspinall or the potential John Jones fight or the Israel Adesanya trilogy for double champ status if Israel Adesanya wins tomorrow at UFC 305. They think that Magomed Ankalaev is a nightmare matchup for him. By the way, we're going to look at fighters' reactions to this because Jamal Hill actually said something reasonable for a change. Jan Blachowicz came out and talked about it. Magomed Ankalaev came out and talked about it. We're going to look at their reactions in a second. But they're protecting Alex Pereira. I believe Daniel Cormier said this recently. This proves it to me. There has to be a legitimate reason. Otherwise, the only reason is they are protecting Alex Pereira. I never, ever want to hear about Dagestani privilege ever again. You know, you look at Steve Erceg, we don't hear Dagestani privilege there. You look at Sean O'Malley against Piotr Jan, we don't hear Dagestani privilege there. You look at Caio Borralho versus Jared Cannonier, we don't hear Dagestani privilege there. But every time a Dagestani gets a decent opportunity, people are like, Dagestani privilege. If you were cheerleading a Khalil Rountree title shot, if you were cheering Magomed Ankalaev getting skipped over, I am convinced that you do not like Magomed Ankalaev because of where he's from, the Caucasus region, a Dagestan fighter, or his religion. No other excuse will be suffice in my opinion. If you were cheerleading this broken sport by checked out Dana White, who all he does is suck off John Jones left and right, and now undeserved title shot after undeserved title shot. Sean Strickland getting a title shot over Dricus du Plessis. Marlon Vera getting a title shot over Merab Dvalishvili. And I know eventually Merab is now getting his title shot in a couple weeks. I mean, it's undeserved title shot after undeserved title shot after undeserved title shot after undeserved title shot. What are we doing? Truly, what are we doing? Colby Covington last year against Leon Edwards. And, you know, I know people are even talking about Adesanya recently. I know there's no clear-cut deserving contender. Now there kind of is with Whitaker. But at the time, there really wasn't a clear-cut contender. But even that. And I know some of these undeserved title shots people are cheering. This is a slippery slope. I mean, look, again, look at the resume here. 5-fight win streak, nothing but literal bums. Literally every single one of these fights for me is 50-50. And this is a title shot resume compared to this. Magomed Ankalaev. A lot of people like to shit on this resume. Oh, his last win's Johnny Walker. He literally has one of the best resumes at light heavyweight, period. Destroyed Johnny Walker. This fight against Jan Blachowicz, it was a draw. He should have got a victory here. Beat up Anthony Smith long before, what's his name did? Thiago Santos. You know, Volkan Ozdemir still in the top 10. Nikita Krylov still in the top 10. Beat Iwan Kutalaba. I mean, look, Khalil Rountree lost to Marcin Prachnio. Got finished by Iwan Kutalaba. Got finished by Johnny Walker. So don't say Magomed Ankalaev, oh, his resume isn't good enough. His resume isn't good enough. Shut the fuck up. And if I hear one more dumb fuck say, oh, he demanded Abu Dhabi. He never demanded Abu Dhabi. He said, I will fight you anywhere. Let's do it in Abu Dhabi. It kind of makes sense the way the calendar's lining up. Whether it's New York, Abu Dhabi, I'll fight you anywhere. You have Jamal Hill and other media members pushing a narrative that Magomed Ankalaev can't get into the States. He fought in the States in January of this year. He's come out publicly and said, yeah, I have no problems with my visa. I've already renewed my visa. They're protecting Alex Pereira from Magomed Ankalaev. And then you have the people saying, oh, he's a crotch sniffer. You don't watch the sport then. He's primarily a striker. Does he mix in the grappling? Of course he does. It's MMA. This is a real bad look for the UFC, especially when you have guys like Magomed Ankalaev coming out and saying, well, they're telling me not to wrestle anymore. You know, you recently had some rumors, he didn't say this himself, of a fighter, who was it? I can picture his face, but I can't think of his name. Carl Williams, right? Was it Carl Williams? I don't even remember. It was a recent card. Fought Hanada Janice, I think his name is. I can't even remember off the top of my head right now. I'm so fired up. There was rumors that he was told not to grapple. Didn't shoot a takedown to the third round. The UFC just sees Ankalaev's name and they're like, oh no, he's going to grapple. He's going to grapple. I mean, look at this resume. And I'll say this right now, and this got me a lot of heat. You could make the argument. You ready for your mind to be blown and for people to be like, all right, Joey, you lost me here. You could make the argument that Ankalaev's resume is better than Pereira's at light heavyweight. Because if you look at Pereira's resume, he beat Yuri on short notice. This fight, you might as well scratch it off. Doesn't matter. Literally completely irrelevant. Means nothing. Jamal Hill took it on short notice coming back from a catastrophic injury. Jamal Hill never even deserved to get a shot at the title. He was a former champion, which makes this win look even better. And don't get me wrong, it's a tough fight. But Jamal Hill's best win was a short notice, battle-worn, ready for retirement Glover Teixeira. Okay? And then afterwards, Jamal Hill, you know, or beforehand, I guess you could say his best win was his brother maybe at Thanksgiving. And then before that, Yuri Prochazka coming back from a catastrophic injury. By the way, Yuri got a title shot after beating Dominic Reyes. Yuri's resume is completely garbage, by the way. And then beat Glover Teixeira in a fight that he almost lost. So let's not act like Jamal Hill and Yuri Prochazka some amazing resume. And then you say the Jan Blachowicz. Well, he beat Jan Blachowicz and Magomed didn't. This was a robbery. Jan Blachowicz won this fight. And I will die on that hill. Meanwhile, Ankalaev got a draw against Jan when he really actually won. So in reality, Ankalaev is the uncrowned champ, in my opinion. And it's just ridiculous that the UFC is so desperate to protect Pereira that they're not making this fight. And the reason I'm pissed, people are going to be like, oh, you just want Ankalaev to win. You don't like Pereira. That couldn't be further from the truth. This is a banger matchup. Why wouldn't you want to see that fight instead of this? This is what we're going to watch instead? I mean, Khalil Rountree, by the way, early prediction, Khalil Rountree has absolutely no chance. Not a shot in hell. Not a shot in hell. No way, shape, or form can he win. He'll get destroyed. I mean, even Anthony Smith, the dead corpse of Anthony Smith was touching him up. At this point, I would have rather them book Anthony Smith in a title shot. So at least we could laugh about it in the lead up. When Anthony Smith's like, on paper, I'm better than him everywhere. And I'm going to get this done. And I'm going to show why I'm the Lionheart. Then he goes out there, gets caught with a left hook, curls up into a ball, and gets finished. And then maybe memed one a little bit afterwards, like Jamal Hill did. This fight is meaningless. This fight is a disgrace to the sport. This fight just is so delegitimizing of any sanctity of the title. And it's a slippery slope. You may laugh now and say, oh, well, I don't like Ankalaev. Well, one day it's going to happen to a fighter you do like. And then you're going to be pissed off. And the UFC is going further down this slippery slope. And it's an absolute disgrace. I mean, you look at the division right now. Magomed's ranked number 2. And I know I've always said the rankings don't matter, but this is still a piece of evidence you can kind of look at and be like, okay, well, that's not jiving. Khalil Rountree is number 8. Number 8. And we're giving him a title shot at UFC 307. Complete and utter disgrace. And I don't ever, let me take this off the screen. I don't ever want to hear a motherfucker utter the terms Dagestani privilege ever again. Ever again. 11 fight unbeaten streak. Number 2 ranked guy. Earned his title shot. Arguably was already the champion. And instead he's getting passed over for a guy who got a robbery win against Dustin Jacoby. Ankalaev, 3 top 15 ranked wins. Cut from the organization as a number 1 contender, undefeated fighter at 23 years old. Is that Dagestani privilege? Huh? Is Ikram stepping in on 1 week's notice after a double weight cut to fight Robert Whittaker and get brutally chinned in the first round? Is that Dagestani privilege? No, it's not. I don't ever want to hear anyone saying the narrative is dead. There was no substance to it anyway. But the narrative is officially dead because Magomed Ankalaev is being treated like shit. And people are like, yeah, fuck them Russian fighters. Hell yeah, brother. They're crotch sniffers. Hell yeah. Can't wait to watch the Daytona 500 this weekend. These people are ruining the sport because they're cheering this shit on. To be honest, I don't want to even buy 307. I know people are going to be, Joe, you're just going to shut up and buy it anyway. Probably will. I really genuinely want to take a stand and not buy this card. Because, by the way, the card's dog shit. People are acting like this is the best card ever. The card's absolute dog shit. We'll go through it in a second, but I want to look at one more thing. Jan Blachowicz reaction. With all due respect to Khalil, but there are at least 2 higher-ranked contenders who are ready to fight Poatan. He doesn't need special protection. Facts. Facts, Jan. Facts. Then we have Jamal Hill. Oh, my God. Salty, delusional Jamal Hill. Alleged domestic abuser Jamal Hill spitting facts for a change. Can't believe what I just saw announced. So a guy pulls out of a contender fight because of a failed drug test for a banned substance and gets rewarded with a title shot. This is terrible for the sport and makes the rankings completely pointless. You know when Jamal Hill is spitting facts and logic and is the common sense in the room, you know we have a big issue. A massive issue. Okay? At this point, I want Magomed Ankalaev to pull out against Rockage, make sure he fails a drug test in there, and then maybe he'll finally get what's rightfully his, which is a title shot against Pereira. What an absolute joke that Jamal Hill has to be the sensible one in the room. And then you have Magomed Ankalaev's response. I received a lot of messages today regarding the light heavyweight title fight. My job is to smash people's face who they put in front of me. I will destroy Rockage in Abu Dhabi and I will not be denied. I don't need nobody to feel bad for me. And then tag Dana White and Mick Maynard. I mean, great response from Magomed Ankalaev. How can you not like that? By the way, Magomed Ankalaev. Oh, look, let's look when he's scheduled. 10/26. When's UFC 307 scheduled? October 5th. We're talking, what is that? 21 days. We're talking 3 weeks in between these two cards. Why aren't we getting Rockage versus Rountree and Pereira versus Ankalaev? Why? It makes no sense. Rockage doesn't deserve the Ankalaev fight. He's coming off a loss. So why don't we just switch them around and give Ankalaev his rightfully earned title shot? Makes absolutely no sense at all. It truly makes no sense. But good on Magomed Ankalaev. Good on him. So look, I'm just going to smash everyone until I'm undeniable. Well, newsflash, Ankalaev, you're probably going to beat Rockage, and they're going to be like, oh, you beat him coming off a loss? The fake narratives about Ankalaev are driving me nuts, too. They're like, yeah, he demanded Abu Dhabi. That's not true. He said anytime, anywhere. He can get into the United States. He suggested Abu Dhabi. He did an interview. I covered it in the interview. I should have had it up for this, but I don't even show that clip. You have to listen to a translator anyway. He said, yeah, I'll fight him anytime, anywhere. I'm ready to go. Then people were like, oh, he turned down a fight. He was never even offered the fight. What they're going to do is they're going to screw Ankalaev again. I don't think he gets the title shot if he beats Rockage. I really don't think he does. We're giving Khalil Rountree a title shot. What an absolute disgrace to the sport. And by the way, UFC 307 is dog shit. We'll end the video on this. Pereira Rountree. Dog shit main event. Don't give a rat's ass. Easy win for Pereira. First round KO, Alex Pereira. Okay. Raquel Pennington versus Juliana Pena. Look at this. Look at this. Hasn't fought since July of 2022. We're talking, I mean, this is crazy. We're talking over 2 years since she last fought. She got humiliated by Amanda Nunes. Humiliated. Why is she getting a title shot? Makes absolutely no sense. Then you have Movsar Evloev, Aljamain Sterling. Love that fight. Can't say anything bad about that fight. Okay. Jose Aldo, Mario Batista. Solid fight. Nothing crazy. Really solid fight. Looking forward to it. Kayla Harrison versus Ketlin Vieira. This fight just pisses me off because Kayla Harrison could be fighting for the title. But instead, they're making her fight Ketlin Vieira instead. Makes no sense. Mariana Rodriguez versus Yasmin Lucinda. Don't give a rat's ass. Iho Potieria versus Cesar Almeida. I'm assuming that's not on the main card. Roman Dolidze versus Kevin Holland was announced today as well. Don't give a rat's ass. Kevin Holland's a scrub. By the way, if we're giving out title shots for beating the dead body Anthony Smith, why don't we give one to Roman Dolidze? Is he number one contender now? He's got to fight Kevin Holland after Anthony Smith. He's number one contender in the light heavyweight division. Then you have Wonderboy Thompson versus Buckley. I like that fight. Wonderboy, at least he's not getting sacrificed to Colby to get Colby back on the winning streak. So I do like that. But I'm assuming the main card is these two fights. Don't love them. Don't hate them. They're decent fights. And then probably, I don't even know, one of these is going to be the prelims. I guess Wonderboy's probably going to be the prelim. They'll put Kevin Holland on the main card because he has Dana White privilege. So you have Roman Dolidze, Kevin Holland on the main card. Kayla Harrison, Ketlin Vieira. Yeah, you'll have from here up. Juliana Pena doesn't deserve a title shot. Khalil Rountree doesn't deserve a title shot. The rest of these fights are just like really, really solid fights. But when you have two shit sandwiches on top of the card, makes me not even care. I don't want to watch this shit. I don't care for this shit at all. It's a disgrace to the sport. Undeserved title shot after undeserved title shot. We got to watch Stipe Miocic sit out for 4 years. The other day was the 4-year anniversary since Stipe got a win. He's walking into a title shot against John Jones. So while you may laugh at Magomed Ankalaev, you better laugh now. That you're the reason we're not getting Jones Aspinall, because we're letting the UFC get away with this horse shit. I mean, think about this: split decision, Dustin Jacoby. Guys, this is really making me question my love for the sport. I'm being dead serious. I talked about this earlier on stream. This makes me want to just pack it in and just never watch and never post again. Like, not only is it ruins any legitimacy to the title, on top of that, we're potentially missing out of a banger matchup because of this bullshit. And you can't convince me otherwise. They are protecting Pereira from Ankalaev. They are scared that Ankalaev is going to beat Pereira. And they know Pereira has become a star by headlining these massive cards over the last few months. And the media won't hold him accountable, so we have to. I'll encourage everyone. I can't say I'm going to do the same because I'm going to cover it on my channel. Don't buy this card. Don't buy this card. Please don't buy this card. Streamies. Sorry about that. Do not buy this card at all. If you must watch, do not buy this card. Maybe go out, watch it somehow legally. Do not buy this. We can't support this bullshit. Come to my stream and just listen to my commentary when I watch the card. What a disgrace of a title fight. Dana White's a bitch. He's too obsessed with power slap and talking about, yeah, slap's going to be the biggest sport in the world. Yeah, it's going to overtake the UFC because you're driving it right into the ground. I'm sickened by this. So that's it. I'm done. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Like the video. I'll see you guys later.